You're watching India's best and worst ranking MPs. We are getting phenomenal response on social media. There's a website link that's live. As you sit at home and watch this broadcast, if you're following us on social media, on Twitter, you can take the link, just click. There's a map of India and you can go and check the rankings of your own MP or anyone else you want to see whether he's been working or not. So far, we focused on the star ranking MPs. We focused on the MPs who didn't do well. I now want you to meet India's best performing MP according to the India Today group rankings for the 15th Lok Sabha, Babar Gajanan Dharamshi. He's a first time Shiv Sena MP from Mawal in Maharashtra. He asked a whopping 1094 questions in Parliament. His Lok Sabha attendance is 74%. His standing committee attendance is 73%. He spent 87% of his MP-led funds, giving him a parliament scorecard of 9 out of 10. His perception index is 8.4. Just hold that for a moment. Perception index means in Mawal, how do people perceive him? Do they think he's doing a good job? 8.7. His overall ranking is 1 out of 371. And I want to go across at this time and introduce to our show Babar Dharamshi, the MP from Mawal in Maharashtra. Thank you very much, Mr. Dharamshi, for joining us. और इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप की तरफ से, हेडलाइंस टुडे की तरफ से, हमारे सारे एक्सपर्ट्स की तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद। पिछले 5 साल में आपका पार्लियामेंट का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड ये दर्शाता है कि आप भारत के सबसे ज्यादा मेहनती MP हैं। Can we have a round of applause, please, for Mr. Dharamshi from in all our guests in the studio? Thank you so much, sir. सबसे पहले तो ये बताइए कि कैसा महसूस होता है आपको। अमूमन आपका चेहरा शायद टेलीविजन पर लोग ना देखें, लेकिन चूंकि आप इंडिया टुडे रैंकिंग में नंबर 1 आए हैं, क्या आपकी सोच है इस वक्त?
मैं इंडिया टुडे का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि आपने ये प्रोग्राम सभी देश को बताया। ऐसा काम करने का काम इंडिया टुडे ने किया, इसके लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं फर्स्ट MP चुन के आने के बाद मैंने जो काम किया तो सही ढंग से काम किया। प्रश्न विचारने में फर्स्ट टाइम पूरा देश में मैं पहला नंबर से 1 में आया हूं। उसके बाद मैं MP लैंड 100% हमने खर्चा किया है। हर MP को 19 करोड़ रुपया MP फंड मिलता है। उसके बाद उसका ब्याज भी मिलता है। मैं 20.5 करोड़ पैसा खर्च करके वो हिसाब गवर्नमेंट को दिया है। बाद में उसका पाठ पुरावा किया। हर MP को ये काम करने को आसान होता है, लेकिन करने का दिल होता है। हर MP को बोला तो स्कूल में अभी शहरी विभाग में पैसा खर्च करने के लिए लोग बोलते हैं कि होता नहीं, लेकिन शहरी विभाग में स्कूल को बच्चे को एक कंप्यूटर दे सकते हैं, साइकिल दे सकते हैं, एम्बुलेंस दे सकते हैं। ऐसा हर प्रोग्राम में आप मदद कर सकते हैं।
मेरे कुलीग रोहित सरन के पास आपके लिए एक सवाल है।
बीमार लोग है।
गो ऑन रोहित।
धर्मशी जी, बधाई हो। एक सवाल आपसे था कि आप तो ये खुशी की बात है कि आप नंबर 1 आए और शायद ये आप रैंकिंग आप रीइलेक्ट होके जारी रखेंगे, लेकिन आपको क्या इस बात का दुख है कि ज्यादातर आपके जो लोकसभा के साथी हैं उनका परफॉर्मेंस काफी खराब रहा, और जैसा कि ADR के डेटा ने दिखाया है कि उन गवर्नेंस रिकॉर्ड सारे MPs का काफी खराब है लोगों की नजरों में, और बहुत सारे MPs इंडिया के पॉपुलर MPs ने बहुत खराब परफॉर्मेंस दिया है। तो इस बात का आपको क्या दुख है और आपका क्या मैसेज है उन MPs के लिए?
नहीं, उसके लिए तो मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि अभी जो है प्रोग्राम देखने के बाद हर MP को परफॉर्मेंस में काम ज्यादा करने के लिए करना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो फिर लोग उनको पूछेंगे कि क्यों नहीं काम हो रहा। ये MP हम कर सकते हैं, आपने क्यों कर सकते हैं? ऐसा हर मतदार पूछेगा उनको। सर, मैं इतना काम करने के बाद भी मेरे को पार्टी ने इस टाइम टिकट दिया नहीं, इसका दुख है।
That's the unfortunate reality.
टिकट नहीं दिया पार्टी ने।
नहीं, ये आपकी बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। मेरे कुलीग साहिल जोशी ने भी मुझे ये बताया, and that's the reality. That despite having worked really hard, asked all those questions, attended the standing committee meeting, his party doesn't really respect him. He's actually now joining. आप MNS जा रहे हैं कि शिवसेना? आप MNS जा रहे हैं कि NCP जा रहे हैं?
मैं अभी मनसे में जाऊंगा।
मनसे में जाएंगे, MNS में जाएंगे, but that's the reality. Despite all of this, the irony is that the MP who's number 1 hasn't got a ticket from his own party, sir.
Let me use the word efficiency for want of a better word. I think one of the reasons is when parties take decisions about who to nominate or renominate, they are not always driven by considerations of efficiency.
Sure.
But let me add something else. I'm reasonably certain that a political party, including Shiv Sena, it may have its subjective assessment about how an MP has performed, but may not be completely aware. And one utility of the kind of exercise we are doing is to present it not only to the citizens of the country but also to political parties.
No, I think that's very important. And as people find out that Babar Dharamshi is India's #1 MP, he can go back and ask the Shiv Sena. His constituents can ask the Shiv Sena, hey, if I worked so hard, if I'm the #1 MP, why have I not been given a ticket? And that, I think, is the larger objective that both of you are trying to reach. Anjali first.
So absolutely. I think the important objective of this exercise is to center stage performance. To say that when parties are putting up candidates, this be one of the criteria that they look at. We are very concerned about criminality, we are concerned about muscle power, money power in the electoral process. I think what really needs to be done is that there has to be a deeper understanding developed of what is it that people expect of their MPs, what are their MPs' responsibilities, and then that is one way by which pressure can be put upon the political parties to make sure that the best candidates are put up by them.
Because I know,
so that
Professor
people have a
Shastri,
choice,
one of the things that you are trying to establish is whether there's a direct correlation between the work that an MP does, the perception amongst his constituents, and the final electoral outcome. But what do you have to say about the man who comes #1, not even being given a ticket? So clearly how you work, or how much you work, or how you're perceived in the current calculation is not all that matters.
See, parties are actually captured by vested interests, and we have a very non-democratic process of giving tickets. India has a very strange way of party bosses in the back room deciding who is going to stand from which constituency, and that is what is vitiating the process. I think we should have a far more transparent and democratic way of putting up candidates by the parties. There are several systems that one could think of, and this method of backroom boys deciding who's going to stand from which constituency has got to go.
And that's very important, Dr. Virmani, because as this becomes a currency, and I think Dr. Debroy worked really hard on the state of the states. The first time it was disputed, later it became acceptable currency. In the last SOS I saw, Chief Ministers fighting. Manor Parrikar told me on 2 criteria, I didn't win best state this time, next year you see Rahul, I'll win it. And I think people need to know that if you do well, you'll be acknowledged for having done well. If you don't do well, people will ask you questions about it, Dr. Virmani.
So, the fact is, in our life today, measurement counts. If there is data, people think about it. If there is no data, it all becomes a matter of interpersonal dispute and views. So, this is an important first step in that sense of having some kind of a ranking. There are many ways in which it can be improved, but that's always true of any new endeavor.
Okay, I want to go across at this time to the Member of Parliament from Barabanki in Uttar Pradesh, Congress MP PL Punya. Because if you see the initial list of the ones who've been star performers, there are very few good names. Not good names, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that very quickly. Well-known personalities don't really come at the top. All of them are stacked towards the bottom. Mr. Punya happens to be an exception. He's number 18. He's among the top ranking Congress MPs, and he's asked lots of questions. His attendance has been very regular. His standing committee attendance has been very regular. He spent about 84% of his funds, and he's among the well-known Congress MPs who've actually done well. Mr. Punya, congratulations on the effort that you've made, and well done. This is an acknowledgement of that. What do you make of the rankings that have been put out so far and the message that they're sending, Mr. Punya?
I am very happy that you have conducted this study. It's a report card for MPs. It's very important, and it will be a good lesson for rest of the MPs. The total number of the MPs is 543, and if you conduct this kind of study, then at least the majority of the MPs should do well, try to do well. I would like to explain. You were saying about the senior leaders, the Advani ji, Lalu Prasad Yadav ji, Sonia ji, and Rahul ji. So we don't expect them to perform like the first time MPs. and they have other duties. So we can better.
No, but Mr.
exempt them
Punya,
from this,
I have a question
kind of
for you.
scrutiny-
Look at Rahul Gandhi's
scrutiny and
track
study.
record in the standing committees of parliament. This is where laws are framed. He's only been to 13% of the standing committee meetings. If he doesn't want to go, then why is he a member? Let someone else come in. Why block that space? This is the real legislative work that parliament does. I don't accept your contention in the least. If you're an MP, you have certain parameters, you need to deliver on those parameters, Mr. Punya.
I was making a general statement.
Sir.
I am not discussing Rahul Gandhi.
No, I'm asking you a specific question.
I started with the advantage. No, I have no authority to give answer on behalf of some other members of parliament. And the parameters it's MPs on full control over attendance. They must attend. Full control over the attendance in standing committee, full control on a private member bill.
Absolutely.
But as far as the MP-led fund is concerned, the member of parliament is supposed to give recommendation, his proposals, and those proposals must be sanctioned by the district magistrate within a period of 20 days. That doesn't happen, and the implementation of the work is also to be carried out by the government department under the supervision of the district magistrate. I have no problem. I have absolutely no problem, and I have done well even in MP-led fund. Utilization MP-led fund is about 21 crores, and it's all spent. And district magistrates during the last 5 years, we have seen the 3 district magistrates. They have all cooperated, and but I do get complaints from other MPs that the district magistrate do not cooperate.
Okay.
That is why the utilization of funds under MP-led
No, those are important questions.
poor in some of
Those
the
are
states.
important questions, and they too need to be resolved and looked at, and that we accept.
Yes.
Just stay with me. I want to go across now and get you. We've also diced this data to look at India's hardest working parties, India's least working parties. Like if you just aggregate all the individual data, you can get very interesting data. You can get data on which states have the hardest working MPs generally across party lines, which parties have the hardest working MPs, and which parties have the least working MPs. So across these parameters, when we aggregate the data sets, let's see what is the sort of results that we get. So this is interesting. I want to take up first India's hardest working parties, and just hardest is used in the sense of which parties have maximum number of MPs as a percentage in the first quartile. 36% of the Shiv Sena MPs are in the first quartile, and by that criteria of the MP rankings, Shiv Sena has the hardest working MPs. BSP comes in at number 2 with 29%. This of course is parliamentary performance and the perception about these MPs. Congress is at 3 at 28%, but that's also because they had the most number of MPs. Therefore, the possibility or the probability of a Congress MP being in the first quartile is higher. Then there is, can we take number 4 please? These are the hardest working parties. Then there is 26%, the BJP. After this, let's now come to the least working parties. I think you can only really look at the first few and get a sense of which are the hard working parties. Naveen Patnaik, for all that he says about how strong administration in Orissa is, Mr. Patnaik, you'd be surprised to know, maybe you know this already, your MPs, you're sitting in Bhubaneswar, but your MPs here aren't doing a particularly good job, Mr. Patnaik, and you need to pull them up, because your MPs as an aggregate, and we're looking here at parties that send more than 10 MPs, so we're not looking at the small parties, that gets really confusing. So we're looking at the large parties, the second least hard-working parties, and you'd wonder how somebody's on the list of hard-working and least hard-working. That's because as a quartile, if you look at the bottom quartile, the most number of MPs after the BJD are from the Congress when it comes to being less hardworking. Let's come to number 3, which is BJP, but that again is obvious because BJP and Congress have more MPs, and therefore they would have more than the smaller parties. Let's now come to India's hardest working states and the least working states. Now, this of course is no reflection on the state itself as much as it is about the representatives who've been sent from these states. Tamil Nadu is the front runner, sending about 48%, so 48% of its MPs are in the first quartile. So Tamil Nadu has, as a collection, the hardest working MPs, followed by Gujarat, and that's not just Modi's MPs, but also the Congress MPs from there. Then there is Maharashtra at 25%, Then there is Karnataka at 22%. Then there is Uttar Pradesh at 21%. So these are the front runners. Right at the top was Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. They were the front runners when it comes to the state-wise rankings. Let's now come to the laggards, the states which send the least working MPs. Now this is no reflection if you belong to this state, these are just your representatives and you need to pull them up. Assam has the biggest shirkers being sent to parliament. 46% on these parameters aren't doing the job that they should. Then there is Madhya Pradesh, which has 42%, and this is not just BJP, but BJP and Congress MPs from Madhya Pradesh. Then there is Orissa, that's natural because BJD was the least hardworking party, so Orissa contributes. A lot of them are from the BJD. Then there's Bihar at 31%. Then there is Uttar Pradesh at 29%. So these are the rankings for the least hard-working states. You've seen the interesting data for parties, and you wouldn't normally associate, Dr. Virmani, a Shiv Sena, and I'm not being biased over here, as being the hardest working party. But the fact that as an aggregate their MPs work hardest is something that needs to be acknowledged and recognized.
Yeah, I think I was trying to figure out what it could be, but perhaps some of the regional parties like the Shiv Sena were more focused on the state itself and were selecting in some sense much better people, just professionals, etc., who joined. I mean, I recall one such minister who was subsequently fired.
No, I asked one of our colleagues, and this is interesting about why is it that the Shiv Sena MPs work harder than the others. He says, when they leave Mumbai, they have nothing else to do. When they go to Delhi, unlike others who have various other things to do in Delhi, various distractions, all they have to do is go to parliament, so they do that.
I have a slightly different take.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with Arvind, but slightly different take. With the exception of UP, if you look at the laggard states and the forward states, so to speak, and this cuts across all parties as you mentioned, the forward states are the states which have better governance, however you define it. And the laggard states are backward in governance, how you define it.
Yes.
And Shiv Sena is Maharashtra, which is one of the forward states. So I have a feeling that there is some correlation between the fact that the Shiv Sena is located essentially in Maharashtra, which is why it does well.
I think we also need to do some scaling, like you said, between the large and small states.
We've done that. You're only taking parties which have more than 10 MPs. You haven't taken the small data because that
you may need to work a little more.
Oh, absolutely. These, people keep asking for raw data files. We'll be very happy to share the raw data files with anyone. You can slice and dice it and come up with millions of permutations and combinations. Professor Trilochan Shastri, before I end, I want you to explain, because you've introduced a currency. All of us together have introduced a currency, and it's important now to build on this and like state of states for it to become a permanent feature. So MPs know, if I attend, India Today will come after me or acknowledge me, and if I don't attend, they'll come after me for saying I didn't attend, and therefore it's important that the perception also be mapped constantly after a fixed interval. Will you be doing that, sir?
Absolutely. We need to repeat this again and again, but I would just like to make one small point. You see, we are trying to match three different objectives. Political parties and MPs want to win.
Sure.
They don't care about all this if they can win. People want good governance. They don't care who wins as long as they get good governance. And the legal and constitutional requirements are how does he perform in parliament, which people may or may not care about. So we are trying to match three different objectives, but at the time of elections, we should be very careful in what we are putting out here, because we may get some surprises. Maybe the bottom ranked MPs will win and the top ranked MPs might even lose. So what price these rankings? So we have to really understand that we are, people want good governance and political parties want to win. And these two objectives may not match.
But I have a contention, and that contention is, as parties find out before they give tickets on who are the hardworking, less hardworking MPs, that becomes a factor amongst various other factors, especially if people who are watching this broadcast say, I want my MP to work hard, or they turn around and ask him, why didn't you attend your meetings, why didn't you go to parliament, then there is pressure on the party and on the MP to perform.
Definitely. I mean, the possibilities to take this study forward are immense. You could do every year, there's so much data thanks to ADR, SNS. And I think the biggest thing is that there is, as Dr. Virmani said, there is a measurement now of some sort. Otherwise, this was a totally, winnability was a perception, legacy, dynasty. I mean, all those factors matter.
No, because when there was a time in India when criminal candidates were a given. when corruption was chalta hai. It's only after all the
See,
work
in
that ADR
principle,
did, the public perception built, and that's when party realized that you can't give Suresh Kalmadi a
In
ticket.
principle, once we have the people who win, one could run some regressions and econometrics to
Yes.
find out what is influencing
We'll do that.
and what is not,
Yes.
and one could use that for weighting in future. So
And
it
people
is
who are
all
electing
a
should know.
evolutionary process.
Well,
Yes.
I
You're relieved after all the effort, finally the work that you've been working on for so long out in the public domain for people
10
now to dissect, to judge, and then form the opinion as they must.
No, I think the important thing, of course, is that this information should be in the public domain. And the fact that people are able to access this sort of information is significant, because it is over a period of time when people engage with this sort of information that they can actually use it to inform how to engage with their elected representatives and how to cast their vote. So I think it's going to be a slow process, but it's an effective process, and it's an important process, because if in our democracy we want performing people who actually deliver on people's expectations to come into parliament, then I think we need to put focus on these sorts
And
of
India is
objective
becoming more and more
parameters.
governance conscious. There is more realization that MPs need to govern, deliver, parties need to deliver, and this chalta hai business is no longer okay. And I think that is really the larger purpose of all of us collaborating. I can see from the immense response we're getting online that people are already sharing it, taking pot shots at various people, saying your MP failed or my MP did well. And that really is the idea, for you to share this. The link is live on our website. You can go check out, it's a clickable map of India. You can click and check how your MP is performing. Remember, the ministers are not there. The data for West Bengal is not there. That will be added in about 15 days from now. This is the first, and 2 years later, I hope to have all of you back again when we can look at snakes and ladders. Who's going up, who's going down? Is your MP, because of this pressure, actually performing better, or is he slipping? That's when the real pressure will build on MPs to perform better, to govern better, and to deliver more, which is what everyone in a democracy is looking for. Dr. Birmani, Vivek Debroy, Surjit Bhalla wasn't here, Ashok Lahiri is on a flight back from Hong Kong, but they worked really hard in putting this together, and most of all, Anjali Bhardwaj and Professor Trilochan Shastri and your teams who've been working relentlessly in trying to put this data together in public service and nothing else. Thank you very much for the absolutely commendable work that you all done. Thank you. Thanks, Rohit, for all the help and support in putting this together. That's all we have time for on India's first MP rankings. I hope you enjoyed this. Share the data as freely as you can. Take a look at it. It's an Insta trackpad of your own. You don't need an anchor. You can just go play with the data, see how MPs are doing. That's the power. For next time, for MPs to know that their performance is being measured, they're under watch. Everyone's got their eyes on them. Thank you very much for tuning in. News and updates when we come back on the other side. Thank you.